Happy St. Patrick's Day. We got another full week of Bears content coming your way, including somebody coming up on the show that's very happy that North Carolina got it in the NCAA tournament yesterday. Talking about it all right now on the CHGO Bears Podcast. Very exciting day in Chicago, and as always, over the weekend and all the weather possible, which is fitting this time of year. What's going on? Adam Hoge, Mark Carman, Greg Braggs Jr. with you, and another loaded week of content coming your way.
You know, it's interesting that Hoge and I both got T-shirts, except actually this T-shirt was for Greg Braggs, but I got it. He handed it down to me.
I'm not fitting in an XL.
I paid for mine.
Yeah.
No, I did
Very
not.
nice.
I think you should definitely go and get yourself some merch here. This is a sweet tee. It's really soft. It's really comfy.
Happy St. Patty's Day.
To you too, Greggy.
Yeah. Even though Saturday was already St. Patty's.
Yeah, that's close enough.
When you're in Chicago, by the time you actually get to the 17th, it feels like, wait, we already did this
We did
like
this
6 times.
Yeah.
All right. We have a fun way to start the show with a new friend of the program, Carm's newest best friend. As we go out to the Hooters Hot Wing Hotline, Carm, why don't you introduce your guy here?
Well, I don't think that I'll have a better moment this year covering the Bears or anything for that matter than what we had at the NFL Combine when my new favorite cornerback, and I'm going to call him my good friend Alijah Huzzie, was standing there on day whatever it was, hanging out, and I have to admit that I did have to do a quick Google search of who was that fine gentleman who looks eager and ready to play in the NFL. And then I saw he was at Carolina, and then I'm like, well, we got to talk Jordan LeBron, and we got to talk moments of how to get to this moment in your life. And Alijah was just awesome to talk to, and some of our fine friends at Yahoo Sports underlined that Travis Hunter had a slightly larger crowd, and it was just me and Alijah at the time, which there it is right there for you. I mean, look at the connection that was instantly formed. And those people, I don't know what they were doing over there.
Bandwagoners on the other side.
Right. I mean,
riding the gravy train.
I get it. You know, you're following the Heisman Trophy winner. No shade. But, you know, I just felt like, hey.
Are you going to introduce him? Or?
Well, yeah, we should probably bring Alijah in. We should probably bring Alijah into the show right now. Alijah Huzzie joining us here on the CHGO Bears Podcast. Good to see you, Alijah. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. It's good to see y'all, too.
Were you hoping at the time that the one guy walking up to you was going to walk the other way, or did you want to talk to me at that moment? Can you remember having any of those type of thoughts?
Yeah, like at the beginning, I was just sitting there, like nobody was there, and I was like, okay, is this normal? And I was like, then you happen to walk up, and I was like, all right, let's get the ball rolling.
Do they prep you on that? Like, are they like, hey, by the way, you know, Travis Hunter's talking at the same time as you are, so, or are you just kind of going into it blind?
No, yeah, I was going into it blind. I had no idea what was going on at the time.
Yeah, well, from my experience the last 3 years covering the Combine, on Saturday when they interview the offensive linemen, it really tapers off. A lot of the media leave on Friday, so the crowd of media is a lot smaller on Saturdays. And so you'll see that a lot on a Saturday, but in the middle of the week, you don't see it as much. Obviously, Travis Hunter brings a lot of media press. And I've had this happen with some of the offensive linemen, and the question I would ask them is what I'd want to ask you. Did that give you a little chip on your shoulder in that moment, you know, understanding, you know, the way the media rolls one way or the other, and, hey, I want to get my name out there so people remember me one day?
Yeah, yes, sir. I would say it definitely gave me some motivation. I mean, I kind of already had a chip on my shoulder previously coming into it, but that just gave me even more of like a chip, bigger chip to just get back right and just shock the world.
For those of you that like to play in the psychological world, what Greg was doing was called projection. And
oh yeah, it pissed me off. That's for sure. I'd remember that the rest of my life.
Yeah,
for sure.
I get it. Well, here let's rewind back though. Your journey, you started back at East Tennessee State, 2019. Played in a couple of games, ended up redshirting. You spent 4 years there. and then got an opportunity to transfer to Carolina, get yourself on the bigger stage. 2 years, and here you are at the NFL Combine. Like, just how you've sort of been battling your whole way here to get noticed, Elijah. What's it been like for you?
I would say, coming out of high school, I didn't really have many offers as I did. Like, I wasn't ranked. I wasn't 5-star. I also didn't play DB as well. I only played 1 year in DB in high school. So just making that transition, it was a grind for me from the start of college because I wasn't comfortable playing a position I never played before. So, a lot of time, a lot of work, a lot of effort went into just switching positions and making that transition. But I would say my coaches at ETSU, they really put their hands on me. They took time and they helped me make that transition and just built me into this player that I am today. And I would say that transition to UNC was just even better. Like, I wanted to prove myself for the world and show people that I can play at that stage.
What was the hardest part of your transition?
I would say physically transitioning, like changing my mindset, physically and mentally changing my mindset. I don't have the ball in my hand anymore, and I can't control like everyone around me. But just changing the game, actually backpedaling, and somebody's running at you full speed and having to change that mentally throughout the game. That was a big transition for me.
What is the biggest difference from being at the line of scrimmage as a wide receiver versus a DB when you're right up on the guy?
I would say DB, you have to react. Like, you don't know what this dude's about to run. He can run so many things. Like, he could do a lot of things that you just have to react off of. I mean, obviously, getting the game plans, you can, eliminate some of those things. But, just being able to react and not knowing where this person's about to go or do, and, just being able to, adjust to the speed of the game, just being able to adjust to different receivers and the different styles of receivers, different play receivers. It's a lot harder than running a route and knowing where to go. But also, receiver-wise, you have to depend on the quarterback. You have to depend on the O-line. You have to depend on a lot of other things as well. And I would say, DB, you kind of just in your own world. You have to make the play or he's going to make the play, one of the two.
Elijah, I just want to point out we have a guest on the show almost every day, and your background, your camera, your audio right now is top notch.
Doing a great job.
Rising up draft board just based on the presentation here alone. It's fantastic. Hey, I'm the special teams guy here on the show. Give us I've seen some of the highlights. I know you can return. But give us the full special team scouting report, what you can do, because you know that's gonna be a big part of your entry into the NFL and probably some of the things that you're gonna have to do right away.
Yes, sir. I would say even my first 2019 when I went to ETSU, my first school, I always was a punt returner. They brought me in. They brought me in as an athlete, so they was kind of like, where do we put him at? But my DB coaches, he took a chance on me and kind of grabbed me from the board. It was like, nice, I play DB. But also, punt return, I was a return specialist. And I would say me playing baseball, like backyard baseball, and just being able to track the ball, get up under the ball, and do those little technique things to the T, I think that really helped me as a return specialist. And then also playing punt, I was a gunner or a vice, whatever you want to say, whatever word. I would say at UNC, they split me out wide, and I was a gunner, but also brought me in to be like a vice and kind of protect and shock shed, get out and run. But I would say that was it majority of my time in college, but also like freshman year, redshirt freshman year, I played kickoff. I went down and knocked some heads a little bit, But other than that, that was the only 3 special teams I played. I never was a kick returner, though. I never did that before.
Hoge, I want to give you the green light in your green shirt to ask the nerdiest special teams question you could possibly ask about everything he just said.
Well,
I want you to really get in the weeds. Please do it.
Well, I can explain the vice thing later, but I want to ask you, since you brought it up, the baseball skills and tracking the ball. I mean, I don't think people understand, though. There's a huge difference between catching punts and catching kicks in the kick return game. Punts are way harder, not only because it's harder to track the ball, but you have 11 guys that are coming right on top of you as you're catching the ball. So I guess since Carm brought it up, give us our listeners and viewers here an idea of all that goes into catching a punt, because there's the spin of the football, there's the way it's tracking, all those things, and maybe go in a little bit more detail about how baseball help you.
Okay. I have a funny scenario. Have you seen the video of Jameis Winston describing punt returns to, I think, a dude in the stands one day?
Yeah, I do. I remember that video going around. But I don't remember it specifically, but I know what you're talking about.
But basically, he was just like, I'll put it in my words too. But it's like you said, it's 11 guys running down the field. Well, first, it's the kick. That's not the 11 guys is like the last thing. But first, it's the kick. You know, like some punters are different. Left foot, right foot, depends on the punter. Left foot comes off the ball. It could go directional. You know, you have directional. You have pooch punts. You have the ones that'll drop on you. So obviously, just watching the ball come off the punter's foot, the direction, the spirals, and watching how it drops, and just being able to get up on it. I think that's the hardest part to do. My coach at ETS used to say always catch the ball first, and the reward is you to be able to run. So I always took that with me on my journey. But just catching the ball first, I think is the hardest part, and then the second is the flying bullets, where you have 11 people coming down the field running at you, trying to take your head off. So you got to choose wisely and read your blocks and read the people, and also trust the people outside that's blocking for you. And just having full faith in your teammates. They're gonna put a hat on a hat, and me have to make one man miss, which is the snapper, and then the rest is history if it's made.
You gotta have a ton of confidence to be able to sit back there and do it. Also, a little bit of craziness, I think, too. There's got to be a little bit of that somewhere in you. I was
gonna say, well, you saw it obviously with that Pittsburgh touchdown where you put the foot in the ground and threaded that needle right up the seam. That had to feel good because I'm sure, a lot of times it doesn't open up like that for you where you got to kick it to the outside and get the yards you can get and get out of bounds. But when you get that special moment where you can hit the crease and go as fast as you can up the middle, right?
Right, yeah, that don't come too often. You got to see it. When you see it, you got to hit it, or you're going to lose it.
I want to shout out your parents because I was reading up, doing the background on you. Misty Ellie on Twitter, she's giving love to everybody, including her son. So shout out to your mom for being supportive of all the Tar Heels. That was sweet. And then I was checking out your dad too, who's also got his own. He's got his own special vibe too. So I'm trying to, like, the confidence I'm talking about on punt returns. Like, this seems to have been built into you for a long time. Is that a fair assessment?
Yes, sir. That's fair.
Yeah. When you think about being on the next level, Alijah, what gives you the most confidence that you can do it?
Like on field confidence?
Yep. That you can step in, be the NFL guy.
I would say being able to be versatile as playing outside and inside. I think I don't think a lot of corners in this draft will be able to do that. And also my special team value that I bring to the team, I think that equivalates a lot and holds a lot of weight coming into the next level, because I know that's going to have to be a role that I have to step into and be ready to perform. And also just my ball skills. I think I have elite ball skills, and I think that separates me.
Well, and watching some of your tape there, it definitely, you're not shy to get down into the box and make a tackle. So for you, your mentality getting down there, and what do you like more, coverage or getting down there and getting physical with somebody?
I don't mind. I definitely don't mind getting down and dirty. I don't mind going to tackle somebody, but I think that I like covering the best.
Can you
Just being able to eliminate somebody from the game is that's something sweet that I like to say. I can do it.
In addition to, hopefully the Bears will be looking for some cornerback help in the middle of the draft during a little return up, which I'm anticipating. I'll be on the phone with Ryan Poles after this meeting here, Alijah, if that's cool with you. Which make sure.
What this is a meeting?
This is a formal interview podcast meeting.
You got to go through CHGO before you get to the Bears.
Yes, yeah. we got to. This is the new process. The Bears are also interested perhaps in drafting a running back. What would you tell Bears fans about Omarion Hampton? If I know that name is out there a ton here, and Ashton Genty too, but what you got to compete against him all the time, so what would you say?
The best running back and coming out of the draft. Hands down, point blank, he's the best in my eyes. Went against him every day. He's a tank. He's a dog. He can run. He's smooth. I mean, he's not like the shiftiest dude, but you got to come tackle him. He'll put a move on you. You can't hand tackle him. You can't barely hit him. You got to wrap him up and take him to the ground. If not, he's just going to run through you like he never was there.
Apparently, he started lifting weights in junior high. Omarion Hampton did. I don't. So I'm get. Does that sound about right? Does that lock in to the physicalness that you have to go up against to take him down?
I'm not sure about that stat right there. I never talked to him about that. But if that is the case, that's a freak of nature right there. God blessed him with a lot of abilities to be able to be that strong and only start lifting in junior high. That's crazy.
Hey, Elijah, when you find out that Bill Belichick's coming to coach North Carolina, is your reaction, thank God I'm going to the NFL, or is it, man, I wish I could stick around and play for?
I kind of wish I would have been able to stick around and play for him. I think that would have been cool just to see the transition from him and Mac Brown and, like, being able to be present in those meetings and pick his brain and just pick up little nuggets that he drops from here and there and just being able to be in the presence of a great coach.
You've had a lot of talent flowing through there. Competing against Drake May too?
Yes, sir.
What was the toughest part about going up again in practice against a guy that was drafted 3rd overall?
His decision making is spot on. I feel like everybody makes mistakes, but he rarely makes mistakes. When he knows where he's going, he knows where he's going with the ball before the ball even snaps. His pre-snap reads are pretty awesome. I would say we gave him a little trouble sometimes in practice, throwing the little disguises off and just being able to trick him, which is a plus in our end. But I would say just the throws he makes, he's a crazy back shoulder throw. He can make every throw on the field from the hash to hash, sideline to sideline, down the field. So just being able to go against him definitely sharpen my game a little bit more and make me focus in on technique and finishing plays.
Yeah, it's pretty wild, the last few years to watch North Carolina start to become a consistently good program. Now Belichick comes there. Duke's really been picking it up the last few years, and that Tobacco Road rivalry, growing up in the 90s to now, Duke UNC in basketball is one of the top rivalries in all of sports, but to now see you guys, kind of picking it up on the football end of things, that had to be pretty rewarding for you to be a part of kind of that culture shift for the football program.
Yes, sir. Yeah, it definitely was a privilege to be a part of this team and this program and to be able to be part of the era that picked it up a little bit. Yes, sir. Yeah.
Well, Elijah, when the Bears draft you, whenever they do, we're going to go right to the United Center and talk about how you as a young man were well aware that Jordan is the greatest player to ever play anything, despite the fact that you didn't get to see him growing up. You have that knowledge, and that was very impressive.
He's in North Carolina.
Yeah, but I'm sure I'm sure there are guys in your locker room that would say LeBron right there at Carolina, but you have
definitely LeBron, Kobe. They bring up Kobe. I even know some guys that say Kevin Durant.
That should be on the entrance exam in North Carolina. If you say anybody other than Jordan, you're out. By the way, congrats to the Tar Heels for sneaking into the tournament. I know a lot of people are mad at them, but
Yeah.
Hey, this is an awkward ending to this interview, but I just want to rewind back. When you were because I'm just curious what it's like for a college kid in the transfer portal nowadays, just how crazy that is, because I know it's a real short period of time. Do you feel like the athletes have the best of everything that's going on right there, or could it be better?
I would say we do have the best of both worlds, kind of being able to change schools or sceneries based off you may not be getting playing time, or you might not think the program fits you or the scheme fits you, or it's just not your time yet. But also I would just say that the negative about the transfer portal would be the timing. I had 2.5, 3 weeks maybe to make a decision of my lifestyle that I wanted to live. And I think that short amount of time, I wasn't able to go on the visits the first couple of weeks because people were still playing. And if you made it to a bowl game, you still had to wait after that. So that timing of just communicating over the phone and maybe talking to a couple of players or calling your old coaches and seeing how this coach is, I think that timing is a negative in the instance of the transfer portal. But I think it's a positive because it gives players that may not fit the scheme or may just went on the wrong path when they first got to college and able to just start a clean slate and be able to start their journey and continue to be the player that they want to become.
Well, before we let you go, Alijah, and we appreciate you joining, maybe if you wouldn't mind telling the fans here in Chicago what kind of player they would expect to get if you were drafted here by the Bears.
The type of player they would get if the Bears drafted me would be a consistent, hard-working player that shows up every day. He would be a great locker room. I would be a great locker room player, teammate. I'm low maintenance. Wouldn't do nothing off the field to get myself in trouble. Come to work every day. I'm fun, full of energy. I like to dance, like to have fun. Mostly like to have fun at practice. You'll never see me not smiling. I always keep a smile on my face, positive energy. I think they'll get the best DB in the draft.
Hell yeah, man. Well, we're rooting for you. And we're sorry that, you had to come across Carm, but I would say on the rankings of Carm interactions, you got one of the top tier ones because sometimes they can go sideways. You just never know with this guy.
There's a reason why this guy's sitting here looking like he is, and it's because he's him, and we won't go down with that, Elijah. We're going to keep this professional. But, hey, congrats on how far you got, and I think you got a bunch of Bears fans now rooting for you. I know by the reaction online, there's a ton of people that are in your corner. So, listen, wherever you end up, go kill it. I have full confidence that you will, and we'll talk offline if you need any more further advice from me. But I feel like you probably got it from here.
Yes, sir. And I appreciate you for just coming to say what's up, asking me questions, and taking a chance. That video happened. Everything happens for a reason in my eyes. So I'm glad you took the time to come over there and interview me, and I really appreciate it.
Hell yeah, man. Well, let it be a part of your story, right? 5-10 years from now, people will look back on that when you're making a name for yourself in this league, and that'll be a part of that story. So, we're rooting for you.
Dude, you deserved it. You got to that spot. You deserve attention. So, wherever it goes from here, it goes. But you absolutely deserved, as me and a whole lot more, for making it to that level in life. Zillion people play sports. They don't get to be at the NFL Draft Combine. It's a big-time accomplishment. So I just thought that you deserve respect for that, period, end of story.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate that, man. I appreciate y'all.
All right, Elijah.
We'll see you soon, man. Wherever your journey ends up, we'll be rooting for you. Thanks, man.
Unless it's on the Packers. Then I'm not rooting for you.
I heard he might have talked to Green Bay.
Alijah Huzzie, man. Man, what a pleasure talking to him. And the story is incredible, and we hope it. We know it'll still be fun to follow here.
He's got a great agent, and Ryan Williams is doing a phenomenal job. Those guys are they're moving forward in a big time way. So anyway, we appreciate the time.
Absolutely. All right, we got a lot more coming up. There's a very interesting wide receiver name that's been floating out today. Might be visiting Halas Hall. We will discuss that. But first, we take our first time out of the show.
Yes, we do, Adam Hoge, and we are telling you about our friends at Sunnyside. That's right, Hoge. Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary, your home for judgment-free cannabis shopping, a place where all kinds of visitors are welcome to explore and discover and purchase a wide array of high-quality products. Do you see what's on the screen right there? If you don't, you're listening in the audio world. That's right, 50% off when you use the code HICHGO. Did you hear that? 50% off. Listen, if you're a pro, they got you covered. 100 strains on the menu. New ones added daily, expertly curated. They've got a wellness advisor staff picks collection, too. So these are the people that are like, hey, you don't know where you're going? They'll tell you exactly where to go. Visit sunnyside.shop. Bright buys every day. 50% off. Not your first, not your second, but your first 3 online purchases. Use that promo code HICHGO at checkout to qualify. Exclusions apply. Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary. Bright buys every day. Only for 21 and older or Illinois medical card holders.
Hey, I don't need to tell you this, but finances, they can be messy. They can be confusing. Even when you're trying to stay on top of them, it's hard. It takes time. And, not a lot of us have a ton of time. So that's why we're going to tell you about our new partner of ours that we're really excited about, Monarch Money. Because Monarch Money acts like your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control so you can stop earning and start growing. It's more than your average budgeting. At Monarch Money, is a complete financial command center for your accounts, investments, and goals. Don't just manage your money. Start building wealth with 50% off your first year for our listeners here at CHGO. You can start managing your finances to build the life you actually want. Monarch Money makes managing money simple, even for busy lives. With all your accounts, credit cards, investments, all in one place, you'll always know where your money stands without the hassle. Track your spending, savings, investments effortlessly so you can focus on what matters most, making your biggest life goals a reality. Monarch Money is the finance tool people actually love. Check this out. It was named the Wall Street Journal's best budgeting app of 2025. The top recommended personal finance app by users and experts with over 30,000 5-star reviews. Get control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code CHGO at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code CHGO. All right. Moving from Alijah Huzzie, and that was a fun interview. He seems like a fine young man and
most likable dude ever.
Absolutely.
Let's go.
Unlike the guy that harassed him at the combine.
No, that was a top tier Carm moment. We can give Carm a lot of shit, and all of it's deserved. But I will say that was a S tier moment for Carm as the kids ranked the tiers.
I think Elijah was a little confused. Might not watch the show every day. That I was getting flack from you in the interview for harassing him when it was actually a great moment in his life. But that's okay.
It's called having fun.
Me and Elijah,
he knows how to have fun.
We're gonna start.
He said he liked to have fun.
We're gonna start our own side pod. It's gonna be a side pod.
Little side pod.
Elijah and Carm.
Okay,
let's go.
Inside.
Good. The NFL.
Well, he said he loves dancing, so if he hears you singing,
that's right. It's a
maybe
combination.
he'll lose his love for dancing.
But
all right,
there is news of the day. Ho, go.
Yes, there is news of the day.
Nobody can read that.
Nobody can read that. That's disappointing. I was getting excited about this new prop.
Right, like
you can do it again now, and then people could read it.
Let's see.
Also, you write like you're in first grade.
No.
Anyway, for the audio listeners, Carmen is holding up a sign that says Greg loves Rondale Moore.
Looks like he struggled spelling love.
According to Ian Rappaport, Rondale Moore, who visited the Vikings last week, is visiting the Chicago Bears today.
Let's go.
That according to Rap Sheet and Mike Garafolo. Interesting player. I know. So, little side story about Rondale Moore, because this goes back a while.
You got side stories on Rondale Moore?
Yes, I covered his first game at Purdue, which was one of the.
I think I've heard this side story.
It's one of the more memorable debuts for a true freshman in college football history. He had over 300 yards, all-purpose yards in that game. It was a Thursday game to kick off the season.
Did Northwestern win?
Northwestern won the game.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yep. Clayton Thorson was coming off his injury and was questionable, even though.
Great performance by Dave Enna and Ted Albrecht.
Well, I mean,
Hoge sidelines.
He was ready to go. He played.
Yeah.
Playing quarterback in that game was David Blau.
Yep.
I'm forgetting the other guy because 2 quarterbacks played in that game. Anyway, long story short, it was a big deal that Rondale Moore ended up at Purdue. He was an Indiana guy who committed to Texas. He was a big-time recruit, 4 or 5 stars, depending on which outlet you looked at. And instead, he changed his mind at the last minute and decided, I'm going to Purdue. And he jumped on the scene with over 300 yards, all-purpose yards in this game, including like a 78-yard touchdown run at one point. So lived up to the hype. Unfortunately, is an amazing freshman year. The next 2 years, he's banged up. Despite that, he still gets drafted in the second round by the Arizona Cardinals. And had a pretty decent first couple seasons. I think like 50, 60 catches. He's definitely sort of a gadget guy. I get it. And then he ends up getting traded to the Falcons last year in the Desmond Ridder trade.
Right.
And then he gets hurt in training camp and didn't play it last year. So it's a guy who's always been electric. Pure talent is definitely there, but has obviously been held back by injuries at the same time. So I like hearing his name attached with the Bears. In fact, my first reaction, guys, when I saw that he was visiting the Vikings the other day was like, damn, because he would be a really fun piece to watch in Ben Johnson's offense. Also has some return ability still. I don't know if it's still the same level he used to have. He's still only 25 years old. Obviously, the biggest question is the health. But, man, if he's healthy, I like him as sort of a guy that just is involved in the offense and can get him the ball sometimes. So I'm very intrigued by the fact that he's visiting Halas Hall today.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously with my Purdue basketball coverage, I'm closer to the Purdue football stuff. I don't cover Purdue football, but I keep my ear close to it enough. And Rondale Moore coming out of college, that was somebody I wanted the Bears to draft. And it's obviously with Arizona, I think he's had some success, but maybe not to the level that I think some thought he would coming out as a second-round pick. But I think what intrigues me the most about it is the Bears aren't done making moves. The Bears aren't done looking to add to that wide receiver room. And that intrigues me because how they're going to approach this draft, you don't have a fourth-round pick. And right now, how many wide receivers do you have on this team? Is Tyler Scott still an option? So Ben Johnson is still looking to add pieces to this puzzle. And so I like the idea of kicking the tires on Rondale Moore. He won't come, at an expensive cost, and somebody that you can take into training camp and see what you got.
So, just to give the background on Rondale a little bit further, he was a rookie in 2021, 3 years with the Cardinals. That year, he had 435 receiving yards, which was fifth on the team behind Christian Kirk, A.J. Green, Zach Ertz, DeAndre Hopkins. He came in fifth. All right. And then each year after that, his receiving yard numbers gradually went down, which is not exactly the trajectory that you're looking for. And he's playing with Kyler Murray, who also got hurt in the middle of that. So there are some extemporaneous factors here.
Yep.
But the Cardinals moved along from him. And now here we are where the Bears are bringing it. The one thing, when he's healthy, to your point, Hoge, he was electric at Purdue. Great hands, made big-time catches at big-time moments. So I like the name, but as somebody who wasn't paying deep attention to Arizona Cardinal football when he was there, the numbers don't exactly jump off the page at you.
Well, this is a guy that obviously has to take visits because these teams got to figure out if he's healthy or not. And he might not be. And the fact that he went to Minnesota and didn't sign a contract there makes me wonder, right?
Right.
But as he takes these visits, I don't. This would be a very low cost kind of taking a flyer on a guy, get him into your building, see what he can still do. It's fascinating. You look at it. His first year in Arizona, he had 64 targets, 54 receptions, total yards before the catch. So that's the amount of yards the ball is traveling in the air before you catch it.
Negative air yards.
For the whole year, was -3.
I know it.
That's wild.
Yep.
So he was like not – so he is definitely a, bubble screen type guy, get the ball in near the line of scrimmage, and then pick up the yak afterwards. Now, that did change the next couple of years, but he was still only averaging 3.2 yards before the catch. So – he's not a full route tree wide receiver guy, and he was never even used that way at Purdue. He was used in a lot of different ways, and that makes the projection tough. But I still like Rondale Moore's story, and it would add another wrinkle to the summer that intrigues me.
And that's the thing, like Bears fans we've been talking about this. They want to fill the Jamison Williams role. Jamison Williams might not be available in free agency or in the draft. Jamison Williams types don't grow on trees. So you've got to be able to try to get creative with how you're going to execute your offense. So if you can't get that guy that's going to stretch the field, then you try to find some different guys. They bring in Olimade Zaccheaus, obviously played in Philly, played in Washington. Last week we talked to, Zach Stevens, who, obviously had a lot to say about, or Zach Berman, I should say, from PHLY, who had a lot of great things to say about him. But he's not a guy that's going to stretch the field either. So you're just looking for ways to get creative, get the ball into playmakers' hands. And as you said, when Rondale Moore is healthy, he is electric. So, Ben's always looking for electricity.
Right. When healthy, obviously, again. But
that's the outlier.
But I think what's most interesting is trying to understand the creative mind that is Ben Johnson and how he's looking at the talent on the roster and how he wants to augment it with, in this case, a gadget guy. You had another gadget guy, my guy Velus Jones Jr., signing up with the Saints over the weekend. Velus, a little bit older than Rondale now. Velus is 77 years old, but still kicking it with the Saints to make that 27. But, I mean, that's, in essence, what you would think this would be.
Well, to your point, they're not, to me, they're not done, obviously, clearly not done adding to that wide receiver room. And then I think the other question is, what does this mean for Tyler Scott? I mean, maybe we won't get that answer until training camp.
Well, it means competition, which is what it should be.
Yeah.
Tyler's not afraid to compete. Damn it.
I mean, I still find Tyler Scott intriguing, but he's going into year 3. Hasn't done much.
He didn't play at all last year.
I mean, obviously the last coaching staff didn't, because this will now be his 3rd offensive coaching staff in 3 years.
But the first smart one.
Well, that's the thing. Like, maybe Ben Johnson can figure out. Maybe Antoine Randall is the one who can unlock. There's no question he can run routes. We watch him in training camp. He gets open.
He gets separation.
But he is not a go up and get it guy. He is not a win the 50-50 football guy.
So how do you get him out in the open field, wide open, get the ball in his hands and let that speed do its work?
Not every catch is going to be easy. And to be honest, the one area that Caleb obviously needs to improve is the deep ball accuracy too. So right now, asking for a deep connection, even if you do get open, where the ball's laid perfectly in your arms, it's not going to happen.
Well, we saw that connection happen a couple times at training camp with Caleb Williams and Tyler Scott last year, albeit against a 3rd string or 2nd string, defense. But he did. He dropped it in the bucket down the right sidelines to Tyler Scott. And you're like, oh, they're starting to build some chemistry. And then they never tried that during the year.
All right. This is an elite moment from Greg Braggs, remembering a couple of balls in training camp last year between Caleb and Tyler.
You remember that throw? I mean, that was one of Caleb's best throws at camp last year.
That was all that was worth remembering from last season.
It was one of his best throws. Remember, Caleb rolled out to the right side. It was on the move.
You remember the 10-game losing streak?
I mean, listen.
I don't blame anybody for talking about training camp.
It is forever in my head.
Training camp in London is the only thing that
I'm
matters.
genuinely asking you. Don't remember that pass?
No,
I don't.
Training camp, no,
I don't. Remember it either,
Neither does anyone else. Good for you, though.
I'll check Braggs in the stands though for the video.
I'll pull it up on Twitter while you guys are doing your read. I'll show you guys.
All right, hey, we got to take another time out here on the show.
Some people can do video.
Got a lot more coming up. And by the way, as Greg continues to talk over me transitioning, CHGO Cubs coming up next after us. Big guest coming up on the show today, Ben Zobrist. First pitch of the season tomorrow at 5 a.m. I know I'm going to say 85% chance Greg wakes up for that.
For what?
First pitch tomorrow.
I have physical therapy at 7 a.m. So I'll be up.
Maybe. I'll
be up by the 3rd
I'm going to give you a 20% chance.
0.
And me 0. Regardless, though.
I'm going to be watching Cody's TikTok late into the night. I'll be too tired.
We'll figure it out.
There's Greg
Braggs.
Braggs.
Rolls out to the right. Deep bomb in the bucket to Tyler Scott.
I don't know how I forgot that.
Okay. You're an idiot.
Oh, here's what I want you not to forget. Your deodorant, all right, as we transition. I guess we've already been in this break for a while now. You can't forget your deodorant. Yesterday I had an interesting situation.
You stunk?
I had to wake up. No, I didn't. It was one of those mornings where I had to wake up and quickly get going. Didn't want to wake up my wife by taking a shower. So I'm just like, you know what? I'm going to go to Mando.
Mando head to toe.
Mando's going to take care of me today as I make the long drive down to Indy and back with my buddy Kurt.
Get the spray going.
There were no complaints in that car.
Yeah.
Because Mando took care of me. When you got Mando whole body deodorant, you're going to feel confident. You're going to love it. Smells great. It's whole body deodorant, safe to use anywhere on your body. Anywhere. I'm not going to go through all the details like Carm likes to, but anywhere. It's created by a doctor who saw firsthand how normal BO was being misdiagnosed and mistreated. So they came up with all these. You got these scents like bourbon leather, Clover Woods, Mount Fuji, or Pro Sport. Mando's got it all. And Mando's starter pack, this is how you want to get into this because it's perfect for new customers. It comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice, like mini body wash and deodorant wipes, and free shipping. And as a special offer for listeners, new customers get $5 off a starter pack with our exclusive code. That equates to over 40% off your starter pack. Use code CHGO at shopmando.com. It's SHOPMANDO.com. Please support our show. Tell them we sent you. Smell fresher, stay drier, boost your confidence from head to toe with Mando.
Love our friends at Mando and our friends at Cornbread Hemp. Life's been a little crazy, but one thing that can help you unwind, it's the CBD gummies. Have you been looking for that natural way to relieve the aches, relieve discomfort, feel oh so good? The CBD gummies from Cornbread Hemp are formulated to work with your body, not against it, giving you the good stuff. Organic, vegan, gluten-free, full-spectrum CBD for maximum potency. This is the good stuff flower only. They got fast, free shipping on every order. Take down that stress, help your recovery, sleep a whole lot better. That's what you're going to do when you go with the Cornbread Hemp. And right now they are offering you, the CHGO listeners, 30% off your first order. Visit cornbreadhemp.com/CHGO. Use that promo code CHGO at checkout. That is cornbreadhemp.com/CHGO. Use the code CHGO. 30% off that first order. This is the good life. And yes, I've tried it, and it's the word that just that popped in my head was perfect. They do it's really good stuff.
There you go. There you go. All right. Been a fun show so far, and we're gonna probably hit on some sort of off topics here late before we get out of here. And again, CHGO Cubs coming up next with Ben Zobrist. Should be a lot of fun. But let's talk about cap space remaining for the Chicago Bears, and we go to our friends at overthecap.com to kind of understand this. And it's interesting with all the moves that they've made. They are still sitting in relatively decent cap position with over $10 million in effective cap space. Effective cap space, if you don't know, that's accounting for the projected rookie class. Remember, you always gotta account for the money that you're gonna have to spend on the guys that you draft. And
rookies ain't free,
and those contracts are all slotted. So, other than where you might trade up, trade down within the draft, for the most part, you know what you still have to allocate. So technically the Bears have over $16 million in cap space, but really it's $10 million in effective cap space, which still puts you, in decent shape without having to restructure a whole lot. We've heard a little bit more about the cap hits that are coming in on the guys that they've signed and how some of that's been structured, but in general, the Bears still sitting in pretty good shape despite a pretty decent spending spree last week.
You could get a bagel and cream cheese and a coffee and an O lineman or a receiver and a whatever you want to go. Safety, get some safety depth.
And as of March 15th, the Bears were third in least amount of dead cap in 2025 with around $4 million, only behind the Steelers and Colts. Whereas the 49ers have $78 million in dead cap. So,
right. And that's where the Bears a couple years ago were like, didn't they have like over $100 million in dead cap? The year they had to reset everything and trade Khalil Mack and all that stuff.
Shout out to my guy Isaac for doing the work on that on Bears Twitter. But
Isaac,
good job.
Well, he's got the graphics.
Isaac. Isaac.
Last word on Bears. Shout out to him. But
what about TTNL? What are they doing today?
They're working hard as they do every day, as should you. Now, for the viewers and for the cavemen, present company included, maybe explain the difference between dead cap, and what you were just talking about there, just so I understand the differentiation there. I mean, I understand it kind of is self-explanatory to an extent.
Dead money?
Right.
He wants a dead cap differentiation.
Yeah, just so for the people that are watching, they may not
dead
understand.
Money is so. I'm trying to think of an example of. Okay, well, when the Bears traded Khalil Mack, you were still on the hook for you sign a guy to a contract and you spread out the salary. The easiest way to think about it is a signing bonus. Signing bonus, cash, gets paid up front. So if I give you a $10 million signing bonus,
thank you,
which is what Carm got when he joined CHGO.
9.5.
But over the course of 5 years, you can split that up, the cap hit, so it's $2 million in year 1, $2 million in year 2, $2 million in year 3, so on and so forth.
Right.
So you're spreading out, so you don't have a $10 million cap hit on that signing bonus. You have a $2 million cap hit, even though that cash is spent up front. Well, if I were to trade Carm, which everybody in the chat would like us to do,
68%.
If I were to trade him after year 2, well, I still got to absorb the remaining $6 million in dead money there on my cap. It still counts to my cap hit. So we're saving the money that we're paying Carm and the headaches that he causes us every day, but we still have to hit, that salary cap. It still counts against our cap. So some teams, as I just look at this, like the Titans, for example, have over $39 million in dead money right now, counting towards their cap, where the Bears are getting a little bit more bang for their buck. When you talk about active cap spending, the percentage of the salary cap that they're spending is actually being used on their current roster instead of players that no longer work for them.
Okay. Thank you.
That was a great explanation.
That was a very good explanation.
Yeah. Carm came in handy there, though.
I don't think that Greg understood any of it. I'd like you to repeat back to what
I will not repeat it back.
No, but that's why,
because you were calling the money they have to spend. Well, how did you say it before we were talking about dead cap?
Effective cap
space. Yeah. So I just was trying to understand
Carm as a teacher, you got to understand that every one of your students is you got to explain to every player that you coach the same techniques differently sometimes. So I knew by explaining that situation to Greg in the context of you no longer working here, he would definitely be captivated. He would definitely listen, and it would stick with him.
Yeah, no, that was true. In the middle of that, the smile on his face was the biggest one he's had in like a couple of weeks. Yeah, it was unbelievable.
Maybe
not kidding either. He was like, we'll eat that money, no problem. Yeah, that'd be sweet. That'd be absolutely great.
Carm got defensive about a fish. Let's fire him. No.
Weird choice right there. I don't fish. It's not my thing. I don't.
That's a great response.
It's never been my thing.
Carm's at least 5 years away from something like that happening.
No. I don't think so.
They're not going to break him on Twitter.
That's not going to be the way I go.
Carm's built for this.
Oh, believe me, there will be lots of other ways that it'll take me down. All right, here, listen. Hoge, if you're the Bears and you got $10 million, what are you prioritizing? That's where I want to take the conversation. If we ever do any more dead cap, whatever we just did again, I might perhaps end my career on the show.
People ask about that stuff, so I think it's okay to explain that.
Right, and we can't assume. We have a lot of different viewers.
It's worth doing once, and we'll never do it again. All right.
Well, we're not going to have a salary cap discussion without really laying out the details.
I mean, I'm honestly, curious, depth.
Because
just give me more. This is why, hearing that Rondale Moore is visiting the facility, good.
Yeah.
And honestly, you don't want to spend it all because you don't know who might still be available. We are not even close to free agency. You know when free agency ends?
June 3rd.
Try August.
Yeah, that's true. Last week of August.
Remember when they signed Jason Peters?
Yes, I do. He was on a boat.
Speaking of fishing, he was on a boat fishing. And they're like, hey, want to come play for us? You could be on our team. And he was like, okay, cool. And he was starting in L.A. like 2 weeks later. I don't remember the exact timeline, but the point is, you don't want to be capped out or cashed out. And by the way, cash, not to get too much back into the weeds, but we talk so much about cap space. The reality is cash matters a lot too. Like your actual cash spending. And sometimes ownership goes, I don't care how much cap space we have. We're good.
So in that regard, we haven't really gotten your thoughts, Hoge, on the Jonah Jackson extension. Not sure, because we talked about it briefly on Friday. We had a lot of different things we were discussing. So we honestly didn't get too deep into the weeds, but curious your thoughts on that latest news with the Bears offensive line.
Well, I just think my reaction hearing they tacked on a year was like, man, Ben Johnson really likes himself some Jonah Jackson.
He do.
Really believes in him, really believes that whatever happened in L.A. last year wasn't a good fit, and they're taking a little bit of a gamble too because they're going to play him in a different position than he even really played in Detroit for the most part. Obviously, I know he moved around, but he was primarily a left guard, so they're going to play him at right guard.
It's one of the greatest traits the Bears have ever had. They love taking offensive linemen and putting them into other positions and having them play there. There was nothing better than when they moved Cody Whitehair to center and said, do this, and then he rolled the ball back to the quarterback. That was awesome. There was nothing better than
guard to guard's a little different.
Yeah, but I also think it's fair to
ask Tevin Jenkins about moving around on the offensive line and how the Bears did that. I'm sure it wouldn't get a glowing report, but go ahead.
Okay, well, I don't know how many times I say this a week, but coaching matters.
I agree with you. I agree.
And so I know we're still in the honeymoon phase here with Ben Johnson, but I'm going to go ahead and give the benefit of the doubt to the guy that's basically had the best offense in the league the last 3 years as he's coordinated it, and he did so by building a good offensive line where, guess what? They moved some guys around. They plugged and played guys. They found their right spot. They found some valuable guys from elsewhere that they brought in that worked out. So I'm going to go ahead and say he knows what he's doing a little bit better than Luke Getsy and Shane Waldron and Chris Morgan and Matt Eberflus. Because this is a different situation, and so I'm going to trust a guy who was with Jonah Jackson for a few years and knows him and is like, not only are we going to bring him in, because if it works out, and I'd say the same thing about Joe Thuney, if those two guard positions, after all the crap the Bears have been through on their offensive line, if they just fix their two guard positions with a 6th-round pick and a future 4th, that's a steal.
All true. We are in the trust in Ben Johnson campfire circle, whatever you want to call it. So, yes, correct. I believe it'll work out. I also think it was the timing of the way that went down was just a little bit odd. They traded for a left guard. The next day they traded for another one. Okay, you'll go over to right guard. I'm wondering, like,
but it wasn't, because if you wait a week, you're spending big ass money in free agency.
I got it. I'm assuming.
Well, and he wasn't.
Hold on, just 1 second. I'm assuming that they knew that they were getting Joe too, at the time. It just,
of course they did.
So henceforth, to the Ben Johnson thing, he can play right guard. We'll be good. Get me Thuney. We got that vet. We got leaders. We got people that know what winning looks like. You guys haven't had that in a while. We're all in. This is going to help us a ton. By the way, let's sweet. Grady Jarrett's popping up too. Another winning type of player that could absolutely change the culture of the entire locker room, the way he goes about his business. That's sweet too. Now let's move forward. Best player available. Here comes the draft. Ryan Poles, Ben Johnson, new Bears.
Right,
that
so
was longer than your Alijah Huzzie intro.
That was really interesting, and it was like a lot of like 2-word sentences like on top of each other. It was
trying
impressive.
to keep things short for you. I thought that was good.
That was interesting. It was just going
shorter
down,
sentences.
It's like Alice in Wonderland's hole as she's waving goodbye, spinning in the air. No, to that point,
that's two in this show now.
Yeah, to that point, I agree with you're going to trust that Ben understands who Jonah Jackson is. And I don't know if he was ever officially, you say they brought him over, he's at left guard, now they moved him to right guard. Well, I mean, they were still reportedly kicking the tires on Trey Smith, who would have played left guard if they were able to bring him from Kansas City. Or if you draft an offensive lineman, then there's a chance that person could have played left guard. So I don't think that Jonah was slotted in as the right guard if they couldn't have got Joe Thuney. Regardless, it is exciting that they got two guys in here that, are veterans to this offensive line. And it is interesting when you look at Jonah Jackson still in his 20s, you look at Drew Dahlman still in his 20s, Darnell Wright's still a young player in this league. See what happens with Braxton Jones this year, still young in this league. Somehow they were able to revamp their offensive line with veteran players that still are in their 20s and not a bunch of rookies that have to develop. So for me, like as a Bears fan, it's like, hey, this is exciting. If this can all work out, now you got guys on that line that are veterans that know what they're doing and can execute the offense of Ben Johnson and see that vision through, because it's not easy to transition a first-year offense and get the kind of, results and expectations, that you're looking for, in a year one.
100%.
100%. Please don't put Tevin Jenkins and Green Bay in the chat. It totally distracted me. We don't need that.
Squirrel.
He's going to Seattle. He'll be great on the West Coast. He's going to get paid. I'm rooting for Tevin. Tevin's a good man.
I think he's visiting the Seahawks today, right?
Yeah, that's the news with Tevin, yes. Visiting Seattle. There are others who, of course, are advancing the news saying he's expected to sign with Seattle. Nobody that watches this show and or chats in the show would ever advance the news unknowingly like they do out in Seattle.
Okay.
Yes.
Should we get to our shout-outs? And
yeah, I got some stuff that I'd like to get to today.
Like what?
Well,
better be good.
Since you just did that, you know what today is, Gregory?
St. Patrick's.
It's St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah. You know where else is today? Why would I be bringing you up for
Michael Jordan's birthday? That's February 17th.
No, it's not Michael Jordan's birthday.
That's
How come
February.
last week the logo on our screen covered your knee, but now it doesn't?
Oh.
Different logo. It's the free agency frenzy.
Ah.
On this day,
I'd like to motion to keep that
on
logo
this day
until
last
that knee
year,
until that gross knee
Yeah.
is healed.
the Bears traded Justin Fields.
Wrong.
That was a year ago yesterday,
yeah,
not today.
Correct.
no, but on this day 2 years ago,
Oh, fuck me. I'm sorry. I said the F word twice.
On this day 2 years ago,
Different swear word.
I said another swear
You
word?
did.
Really?
Yeah.
Man. I'm
Oh,
just
who
a
cares?
Sailor.
yeah,
I apologize,
Fast
TV.
channel cares.
on this
I'm
day,
sorry, Fast Channel. Don't do it.
on this day 2 years ago, a 16 seed in the NCAA tournament by the name of Fairleigh Dickinson faced 1 seed Purdue.
I don't even care about this anymore. It used to hurt my feelings. It doesn't hurt my feelings anymore.
No, I'm sure it doesn't.
It doesn't.
And do you know why that is relevant to today?
No.
Well, the coach of that team at Fairleigh Dickinson, his name was Tobin Anderson,
Mm-hmm.
and he took that victory and he launched himself up to Iona after kicking Purdue's butt.
Uh-huh.
And Tobin got fired
Okay.
today.
Yeah.
So that's how that came full
Well,
circle.
they didn't give him a long
Yeah,
leash.
no.
He didn't even last 2 years?
You're Fairleigh Dickinson dude who took you down, got the bump up, and got fired in 2 years. So I don't know what all that means, but it was a great job.
I don't mind it because just like when we were talking with Elijah Huzzie, low moment, nobody's at his podium, everybody's over at Travis Hunter. Make him remember you one day. Fairleigh Dickinson thing, hurt in the moment, but it was a part of a story where Purdue was able to have one of their greatest years in program history last year, getting to the Final Four for the first time in over 40 years, getting to the national championship. We won't talk about the result. Zach Edey, 2-time National Player of the Year, special time last year for Purdue, and they don't have that without
2 years
going through the mud with Fairleigh Dickinson.
2 years ago was a special time for this show because you died and you were out of commission for like a week. It was amazing.
I did die.
It was one of my better troll jobs.
Yeah,
to have a Fairleigh Dickinson shirt over.
Now I know you were talking about it last night in Slack. I don't even want to talk about it because of how much it upsets me with coming up on Thursday. Because both Purdue and Wisconsin play at the time during our show.
So you got solo Carm on Thursday.
Seriously, because last year Carman
Huzzie.
Last year Carm was interviewing Mina Kimes while I was at the tournament and watching the Northwestern game. And I feel your pain. Like anybody that gives you crap, like trying to do an interview where the team you love is in the tournament. Like I physically will not be capable of doing an effective show on Thursday.
All right.
Unless you want to be entertained by me sitting here freaking out for an hour. Because I know everybody here in the chat's going to ruin the game for
Or
me.
you can just be a professional. Like
I will not be
I
a
will
professional.
And
I refuse
just
to be a
ignore the
professional.
fact that the game's going on until this show ends.
I refuse to be a professional.
There was an assumption in there that when the games that are going on, that when they're not going on, that you actually are doing a professional show, which is it's a fairly large leap. But I digress. A shout out, one more other shout out from me, Hoge, and that's to my guy Corey. Yesterday at the Fine Midtown Athletic Club in Bannockburn, came up and said he was a huge fan of the show. So I was sitting there yesterday doing my draft prep, Hoge. Just he had the computer out, diving deep into all the running backs and all the Hamptons and getting ready for Elijah. And here came Corey to say hello, which was sweet. So Corey, shout out to you. And then we took a little peek at the old TV screen and we saw your Badgers just battling it out.
Mm-hmm.
And then you lost. So Corey, thanks for saying hi.
Well, before we get into some diehard shout outs, and you have a chance to become a diehard here at allchgo.com/diehard. And when you do, you can get a discount on our draft party coming up April 24th and 25th. That's a Thursday and Friday night for the first and second round of the first, second, and third round of the NFL draft, presented by Circus Sports, down at 115 Bourbon Street at Marionette Park.
Did you see that upgrade on our graphic for you
little
on YouTube?
upgrade for the
pretty
meatball
sweet.
meltdown hour.
With the overtime segue.
When
Wow.
you see that, that means we have reached the meatball meltdown hour of our show. But yes, get your tickets at allchgo.com/events for the draft party for Thursday night. There's the QR code you see on your screen. All you can eat buffet with your ticket. All you can drink. Wells drinks, wine, I believe, is the other one too as well. Wells, beer and wine. We're all going to be there. Corey Wooten, Lance Briggs are going to be there. A lot of different CHGO personalities that cover some of the other sports here will be there as well. So come on out to the draft party, 115 Bourbon Street. Get your tickets at allchgo.com/events. Presented by Circus Sports. Appreciate those guys.
And I know that there are some elite CHGO listeners, Gary Ross, who's already got his tickets and his hotel room, and he's ready to go. And
That's right.
I hear that you might join him in his hotel room.
I will.
Yeah, there you go. Pre-party. Pre-party. Pre-party.
Do we need a pre-party?
Yeah. You got a problem with that?
Yeah, because we have a show to do.
Yeah. My pre-party will be setting up the set with Steven like we do every year.
Okay. That'll be a great time.
Yeah.
All right. I want to give another shout out to our listener, Kyle Utney.
Utney?
I hope I'm saying that right.
All right, Kyle.
Kyle sent us this photo yesterday. He was listening to the show, CHGO Bears Podcast, inside the Arctic Circle. It's on the screen if you'd like to look at it.
It's very nice.
He's just looking at me confused instead of looking at the screen.
Yeah.
There he is, Kyle.
Look how happy he is.
He's in Tromsø. I hope I'm saying that correctly. Norway.
Oh, that's awesome.
Which is one of the northernmost parts of Norway in the Arctic Circle.
Look at that view. That view while listening to the Carmonica is a choice. That's a choice.
Dude, that is the coolest dude of all time.
Yeah.
That guy is unbelievable. What's his name?
Kyle.
Kyle who?
Utney.
Kyle Utney, you're my hero. And if you could please send Greg Braggs a ticket so he could directly visit you.
I'd love to visit
That'd be
Norway. That's
phenomenal.
awesome.
Actually, I'll forget
Good
that.
way to ice your knee.
I'll go.
Just go to the Arctic Circle.
Utney, I'm on my way. Let's go. Let's have a let's be honest, that's a couple of cockies right there in that to hang out in that whole whirlpool in the northern Arctic. Let's go. Get a whiskey.
A couple of cockies with Kyle in a hot tub in Norway.
I mean, get out.
Where's Corey Wooten?
We could take your crown and your Dr. Pepper Zero and have a hootenanny up there.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be better for our draft party if I was there? If me and Kyle, don't you think?
Agreed.
Yes, you can put Wood on, have Brett Briggs on. I'll just go and hang out there, and you can come to me for my 5 seconds of brilliance, and that'll be that.
We're gonna start a GoFundMe here with everyone here in the chat to make this dream a reality.
Well, we could just send him to Green Bay too.
Pizzatola pays the whole freight. Right now, it just comes in the form of a super chat.
I can be bought. If you guys want me off the show, I have a price.
Yeah, but Pizzatola wouldn't pay for a plane ticket. It'd be like he'd have to be in a shipping container on a.
Dr. Truth, I know what the Arctic Circle is. All right, I've seen Transformers.
He does not know what the Arctic Circle is. He doesn't know anything about anything, but it's okay. You're here.
Drown you in the Arctic Circle one day.
I want to go. I think what we should do for a show also, by the way, not to take anything away from the Arctic Circle, is to go to Antarctica and do the Drake Passage and see who survives. You want to go Drake Passage?
You guys can.
Do you know what the Drake Passage is?
I'm done with winter. I need it to be 80 again, like it was.
I don't like cold.
Oh.
Drake Passage is you have to go through a very, very choppy body of water on the way down to Antarctica. You got to fly to the tip of Argentina, and then you get in a boat, and on the way there, it gets real, real dicey, and that's the Drake Passage.
There's a couple people, Steven, in our chat that said they became a diehard today. If you want to keyword search that, just to give those people a quick shout out here. I know there was a couple people that tweeted at us yesterday.
Bochanton, you're the man.
Yeah, Eric Bochanton said, I just renewed my diehard membership. Appreciate you, Eric. He's in our chat every single day. That is much appreciated. I know yesterday we got tweeted at by the guy that we were both responding to, saying they had become a diehard. T-Jax as well. So those shout-outs do not go unnoticed. We appreciate you guys very much.
Well, let's slow down.
Okay.
And let's talk about T-Jax.
Well,
okay.
As long as we understand, we got to be off in 5 minutes.
Yeah, no,
4.5 minutes.
Got it. So T-Jax is a guy, Hoge, that he was told that he could get to one part of his life.
Right.
And they tried to put a glass ceiling on him, if you will. I don't know if I'm using that reference correctly. But either way, he broke through. T-Jax broke through and got to places that only he believed he could get to. And that's the type of belief we need around here. And that's my guy, T-Jax, and we appreciate him.
James Swindle became a diehard on Friday. What do you think about Swindle?
I mean, look at that face. That's a face that you want to kiss that dude. Look at that guy.
You want to kiss? You want to kiss James Swindle?
Look at that head. I'd give him a kiss right on the top there. Look at that thing. Shiny and glorious. Swindle, you're the man.
Adam, when you see that face.
Adam,
when you see that James Swindle face, do you want to kiss him?
Swindle. You want to swindle with Swindle. There's no doubt about it. My man. Congratulations, James. You're the man. What about Chubbs? $5 from Chubbs.
Congratulations, Swindle. Carm wants to kiss you.
On top of your head. Put a blanket over that ugly leg. Chubbs, we're all with you. 100%.
I mean, that one I totally agree with Chubbs.
Yeah. Gabe Garden.
I don't understand why we can't come up with a better solution than what we got going on here.
I have a solution. No one wants to listen to me. There we go.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sean.
That's kind of disrespectful to the Chicago flag.
That's true.
Kind of is.
Now I can take a nap.
Now we need that thing washed. Guys haven't seen a shower in 2 weeks.
My Chicago glory.
There's going to be another bloody star in there.
Gabe Garden. Gabe Gardenier. $2. Happy St. Patty's Day, boys. Bears better get Elijah. Gardenier, you're the man. I again.
Except you can never get his name right.
That's why I went to Hoge. I did get it right.
Rubber Duck Productions, $5. New diehard as of last Monday. Can I get a bear down? Shout out for my son, Nick. Love the podcast, fellas. Keep up the good work. Shout out, Nick.
Let's go.
Nick, your dad is elite, and so are you. You're on a great path. Bear down indeed. Thank you. Nick's the man. Dominating day in and day out at school.
Happy birthday to Sam Jones III. He turns 47 today.
Happy birthday to you, Sam Jones. If we had time, I'd sing you the Camp Nabagama and Hans Kaleva, but we don't have time.
And we're going to end the show with Pizzatola. The only way we should end every show with Pizzatola. We don't end it with Crystal. Super chat, $2. Start the Carm. Plane tickets fun. Send the harmonica too.
I'll put it in my pocket for you, Pizzatola.
James Swindle says, boil her up, Braggs. No kiss, please.
I agree.
Okay.
All right.
We'll hug it out. No problem.
More coverage coming your way tomorrow, as always. Also, make sure you're paying attention to what's going on around the entire CHGO family. Big Cubs show coming up in about 22 minutes. Ben Zobrist joins. Plus, tomorrow the season starts, so you're going to want to check out post-game tomorrow. Games from happening in Tokyo. Be a lot of fun. Mookie Betts isn't playing.
Let's go.
Wow.
Opening day.
Stunning knowledge.
Opening day at 5 a.m. tomorrow.
Who are the Dodgers starting?
At pitcher?
Yeah.
No idea.
Greg, do you know, Mr. Cubby?
It's not Ohtani? He's not ready to go yet? Come on, dude.
Steven, do you know who's starting?
Who's the White Sox starter? Sean Burke? That's his name?
Yeah, Sean Burke.
I got it right.
Yeah.
Sean Burke is going to be the man this year. I can't wait to go to Guaranteed Rate Field. G-Rate. Let's go.
5 a.m. opening day tomorrow. Ben Zobrist today. Post-game show for CHGO Cubs afterwards, too.
23 seconds left to shout out Alijah Huzzie one more time. Good luck to Huzzie. And to you, your boy Boogie. You're the man. Appreciate you.
We will talk to you guys tomorrow, noon. Talk to you then.
We all silly like the mayor.